Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the podcast you come to when you're ready to finally take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Blake Creamer, and in this podcast, Evan and I are going to go over the early fantasy hockey awards for this season. Let's get to biz. Oh, yeah. Welcome in, everybody, to the Apples Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the number one fruit-based fantasy hockey podcast out there. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate that. We got a fun episode here for you today. I got my brother in fantasy, Evan Rayom. Evan, how you doing today, my man?
I'm great, man. As we kind of talked about off air, I'm still flying high from Team USA yesterday. I got Quinn Hughes' goal pumping through my veins. I'm ready to go, man.
Oh, hell yeah. It's nice to see Quinn score a big goal like that. I mean, he got a lot of big assists for the Canucks, but I don't remember any goals as big as that. I thought his celebration was kind of funny, though. He doesn't seem like the most natural guy in the celly. I don't know. What do you think about Quinn Hughes' celly?
Yeah, I feel like everyone else was a little bit more pumped than him. He kind of just slammed his stick against the boards, and then everyone else is going nuts.
His arm was kind of like all over, and he just did no expression on his face. He was seeing ghosts out there. I don't know what was happening.
Like you said, he's not used to it, but hopefully he does. And even like the post-game interviews, no emotion, but man, that he is unbelievable. I'm so happy to have him on Team USA, man. Logging crazy minutes too there. I think there was something he waved the coach off, like Mike Sullivan, hey, no, I'm going to stay on the ice. I'm going to score this goal. Do it, man.
He does that. Do it. Full send. he does that stuff. And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about big Mitchie Marner and his OT goal. I thought the celly was a little better, right? He kind of got down on one knee there, lifted up the two hands. Nice to see. Just a big goal scorer. Am I right, buddy?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's 1v3 just completely takes it over. Crazy. And great shot. It's tough, man. I'm no Toronto fan. I feel bad for, Nate, Ryan, and Brian. If you guys are listening, I don't know, man. I'd be missing Mitch Marner. He's the real deal. It's tough it didn't work out for him there because he very clearly is a super talented player.
You bet your sweet bippy, buddy. All right, but we gotta get to biz. I mean, I've been enjoying the Olympics here, and I've also been enjoying the break with fantasy hockey, but we got to start getting back into it here. You guys have been holding it down at trade talks. Nate's been doing some stuff here, and now I'm back in the fold, and we're going to go full send here towards the end of the season so we can get those chips. And what we're doing today, just a fun episode. Evan and I are going to go through a couple of our early fantasy hockey awards here. One of the things that would make this show really fun is if you, the viewer or the listener, pipe up with your own thoughts on some of these awards and who you think, we'll go through some of them here, but would love to hear your thoughts. So hit us up in the comments, all that stuff. But without further ado, let's get to biz. And we're going to start out with the biggest surprise this season here, Evan. And there's been a bunch. It's been an interesting season. Lots of guys kind of coming out of the woodwork, but I think we got two good selections here. Why don't you take us through your first one here and what your biggest surprise here this fantasy hockey season?
Yeah, I should say too, I think going through these awards, to me, it's not like looking at the, just hard and fast numbers of the most points, the most fantasy points, etc. I kind of used APL settings for some of these and as well as their ADP and Yahoo and Fantrax, but this is subjective, right? So it's not going to be a hard and fast. We kind of went over our own personal, this is my biggest surprise. This is our best player. So, it's not the hard numbers. Obviously, if it was, there'd be a lot more ties and, just straight up players. But I kind of wanted to put that out there as the criteria for these awards. So for me, I went with Logan Cooley. And I think that, he's somebody that going into this season, I didn't really have on my radar. I definitely wanted to keep an eye on how he did, but I didn't think he would do as good. And he had a couple of really big games, but unfortunately his season has kind of gotten derailed by two separate injuries, but this most recent one, he's been out for quite some time. I think he's hoping to get back after the Olympic break, but in 29 games played, he has 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points. He was on a 40 goal, 65 point pace. And I think it just really looked good, like he was ready to take the next step for Utah. I think they are missing him from a scoring perspective because they're kind of running like Nick Schmaltz at center and stuff, and I don't think that's really his natural position, although he has done well this season. But I think Logan Cooley, like when he gets back and then going into next year, is really going to be on my board for somebody that can kind of get closer, probably to like a 70-point plus season with high goal totals. Like he really showcased his skill early on. I'm excited to kind of see him get back from injury here. What about you, Blake? Who's your biggest surprise?
Yeah, well, first off, on Logan Cooley, I think it's a really good pick. Yeah, Utah definitely misses him, especially on the power play. Utah's been amazing at 5-on-5 this year in terms of conversion, but the power play has been hot garbage, and they need a nice facilitator out there. Also, a guy that can, carry the puck into the zone and hold on to it, right? I think Utah's had some issues with that here this season. So I like Logan Cooley. I think this is a guy we're going to get at value next season because yeah, we haven't seen fully what he can do here, but I think he's a big part of the future there in Utah. My pick is Leo Carlson. Oh, yeah. For me, like big time surprise. There's so many good young players on the Ducks, but I thought Mason McTavish was going to be the guy that was going to get some run there, not Leo Carlson. And I remember in the projections episodes that Nate and I were talking about, that sort of, we both had that idea. But it's always interesting when you get a new coach in there because you don't know who he's really going to ride with. And I love that Leo Carlson was that guy. I mean, before he got injured, this guy, 18 goals, 25 assists, and 43 points in 44 games. That's an 80-point pace. Really, really nice stuff. Like I didn't see that coming, right? And it makes a lot of sense that he was the second overall pick. I think some people were surprised by that he went over, Adam Fantilli, right? Who is kind of I think the consensus number 2 there, but we're really seeing that with Leo Carlson this year. I'm hoping that he gets back in the lineup here after the Olympics. It sounds like he might do that, but yeah, it's I just think that we saw the coach's confidence here in Leo Carlson, and that makes a huge difference. He's getting close to the 20-minute treatment. He's getting the power play 1 treatment, and he's kind of been the guy there. So, and he's a young player too. It's crazy. Like Logan Cooley, Leo Carlson. These are guys that you could have gotten like well after pick 100 in your drafts. And they really made a big difference here. So we'll see what happens with Leo Carlson when he comes back, because now we got Granlund in the lineup here with the Ducks. So that kind of muddles things up a little bit. And you got a player who we'll talk about in a little bit, Beckett Seneca, really kind of pushing the envelope there for more minutes. So I don't know exactly how it's going to go for Leo Carlson rest of the season, but it's been a massive surprise this year. What do you think about Carlson this year?
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of you took my spot there. I wanted to shout out Logan Cooley, but Leo Carlson is definitely a great pick for this. There's a lot of players that could have kind of won this award or been in contention, but Leo Carlson, I mean, earlier in the year, he was looking like one of the best players in the league. Like his zone entries and his puck control and his speed, like were on another level, and he was really one of the big driving forces, him and Cutter Gauthier, of the Ducks' resurgence this year. And I think, like you said, recently, like his production dropped off, but I think a lot of that was due to this injury, or at least by my speculation, it would be. But yeah, I really think next year, like you're looking at like at a minimum, I would think a point per game player. And like you said, I even think like going into next year, we'll probably potentially get him at value. So yeah, I'm really excited about Leo Carlson.
Absolutely, buddy. 2 players you want to keep an eye on for the rest of this year and into next year. Let's move on to the next award. The best rookie. Oh, yeah. Rookies to me in fantasy, I'm not really big on taking swings unless you can get them at really good value. And I think both these guys that we're bringing to the table here today, they were available on your waiver wires after drafts, right? Really exciting stuff. And they're both having amazing seasons. Why don't you start with yours?
Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. Like getting these guys off waivers is absolutely nuts. Especially my rookie of the year here, Matthew Schaefer. 58 games played. He has 16 goals, 23 assists, 16 goals as a rookie defenseman in the NHL on the Islanders. And I know that's kind of like a caveat, but like, I mean, it's real. Like that's so crazy to me. Really great stuff. 137 shots, 26 hits, 76 blocks is nothing to scoff at. People were still drafting him, interestingly, in some leagues. Like ADP was 179 on Fantrax, but as of right now in APL settings, he's the 15th best defenseman. He's on a 55-point pace. It's just really interesting to me, like how much run Patrick Waugh has given him. He really has the trust of the coaching staff and the management for the Islanders. I mean, you watch this kid in like interviews and stuff. He just seems like the real deal, man. Like he's super nice. He's positive. Like I think it's been really good for them as a team too. And I
Mhm.
think it's been underrated that Barzell's back and healthy too. So that's really helped. Like Horvat's doing really well. Barzell's doing well. Schaefer now, like that team's doing decent, and it's a big part in terms of what he's had to bring. But yeah, I mean, I think he goes much higher, obviously, next year in terms of drafts, and he's kind of the future of offensive defenseman for the NHL. It's really exciting what he's done.
Yeah, at age 18, it's freaking nuts. Like, yeah, the ice time right off the bat it just pops off the page. I remember early in the season, I had an episode somewhere where I'm like, you need to go get Matthew Schaefer, like, because he wasn't popping off offensively, but the minutes were there. He was getting like 25 minutes a night from Patrick Waugh, and yeah, it obviously turned into something very legitimate. The 16 goals is huge. Getting double digit goals from a defenseman anytime is excellent, but from an 18-year-old rookie, that's amazing stuff. And he really brings an element to the Islanders that they didn't have, right? Which is like those zone entries, right? Carrying the puck into the zone. And also something underrated about Schaefer's game is his defensive work. Obviously his work ethic, like we've seen the back checks, we've seen those type of things when you're looking at highlights, but guys that are trying to carry the puck against them, like he's really good at suppressing zone entries, really good at suppressing scoring chances at a really young age. It's crazy stuff. So this guy's playing well beyond his years. Love the player. I think he has a really good shot at the Calder Trophy this year, depending on what happens here in the next little bit. So shout out to him. But my pick for best rookie so far for fantasy, Beckett Seneca. Really, again, a guy you probably got off waivers, right? And similar to Leo Carlson, it's not surprising that Seneca is having success, but it's surprising how fast he's gained the coach's confidence. As a rookie on a team with young, talented players, like we talked about, he's actually fourth among forwards in average time on ice, which is crazy. And that's just gone up. Like, in the last little bit here, last 15 games, he's actually averaged 19 minutes, 41 seconds average time on ice. Like that's first line numbers, right? And he's really getting some run there. And he drives offense in a really good way. So I think, average ice time going up and just the way he drives offense, we're going to see a spike in production, which is what we have seen, right? So I think locking down power play one, Beckett Seneca, another big surprise for me. Really nice to see, again, especially with guys like sometimes they got Cutter on power play two and you got Beckett Seneca on power play one, which is like, can we get them both on power play one? Like, why not both? But, they do sometimes, we'll talk about Cutter in a little bit, but I just like the role Seneca's been able to find there. I think that, yeah, he's been running hot with his shooting percentage as well, but Seneca's been a little bit snake bitten on that Ducks power play as well. I think he only has one power play goal. So I think there's some juice there left. I could see Seneca finishing with like 70 points if he stays healthy, right? Only caveat, what does the Ducks team look like when Leo Carlson does get back? One of the things I love about Beckett Seneca is early on in the year, he was playing with Mason McTavish and Cutter Gauthier, and that line was one of the top three lines in the entire league in expected goals for. And it wasn't just a flash in the pan. They played a lot of minutes together, and that team was generating a ton of offense. And that's when Cutter was going bonkers, right? With hat tricks and just scoring at will. Seneca was a part of that. Mason McTavish was a part of that. So I hope when Leo Carlson comes back, they get him with Troy Terry, right? And then we get Beckett Seneca back with Cutter Gauthier and Mason McTavish, and then it's blast off time, buddy. So yeah, I don't know. I hope we see that again, but I definitely just want to shout out Beckett Seneca. Guy's got 44 points in 56 games. That's a 64-point pace. Really nice. Like I said, I could see him potentially getting as high as 70. What do you think about Beckett Seneca, my man?
I love him. I got him in a spot, and I'm holding on. So yeah, he's been really impressive, especially to watch. Like the way he controls play, and the coaches really trust him too. Like him and Granlund, I think he's elevated Granlund's play that he's been playing with him now. And so yeah, he got that hat trick with the overtime winner. Like,
oh yeah,
a lot of confidence there. They hit him with the shaving cream after. It was a great response. But yeah, like he's just a really good player. And I knew nothing about him coming into this year. So it's impressive to see. Is it selfish of me to want him playing with like Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier first line and just completely like tilt the ice rocket that way?
I mean, I'd love to see it. This team is exciting. Again, I remember Nate and I talking about the Ducks in, draft season, talking projections, and we were weirdly excited. We're like, there is a lot here. And if things break right, man, we're looking at a lot of really fun fantasy assets. And that is kind of what has happened. So they've got a lot of options there. We'll see what happens. I think Granlund being in there sort of does throw a wrench in the mix because he's that veteran presence. He's a great player in his own right. So, it's going to take value away from a guy like Leo Carlson or Mason McTavish. And so we'll see what happens, but just don't take away our Beck and Seneca. Okay. Damn, that guy's popping the hell off. Let's move on. We got to talk about the best beefer, the best beefcake. Oh yeah. Just an absolute meat cannon. We got a couple of them here. Talk to me about your best beefer. I knew you were going to go this way. So tell me about your boy.
Yeah, not too hard, right? I go with my hometown favorite, Mo Sider. Pretty easy to do. He's always a peripheral beast. 58 games played. He's got 7 goals, 31 assists, 38 points, 18 on the power play, 122 shots, 88 hits, 130 blocks. He's almost in the triple hundred club. So his hits are kind of down a little bit compared to prior years. But what's really exciting about him as a really good beefer is that his points are actually up. So not only are you drafting him to get like the crazy good peripherals, but he's rewarding you with actual like points now too, which is great. He's on a 10 goal, 54 point pace, which would be the best of his career. And that's kind of what he had his rookie year. And we were thinking he's going to be, 50 plus point defenseman with crazy hit, shot, and block numbers. He's currently the 10th best D-man in APL settings. And he's actually, interestingly enough, he's 10th amongst all defensemen on the season for expected goals per 60, which I thought was interesting too. It's really weird. So as a Wings fan, I selfishly don't want him on the top power play because I feel like it's almost asking him to do too much. I think that's why some of his peripheral numbers are a little bit down, like his hits, because he plays power play, shorthanded, and all the even strength minutes. So they're asking him to do quite a bit. I think, Sandin Pellikka is another defenseman that I've got my eye on that could really handle that top power play in the future. It'd free up Mo Sider to do more defensively, but as a fantasy owner, you want him to get those power play points. So it's kind of a little bit of both for me, but he's a peripheral beast. He always will be. Great young defenseman for us. And I'm excited about not only the peripherals, but now the points that he's adding towards it. So he's my pick.
How dare you think about actual hockey as opposed to fantasy hockey? What the hell? No, you get Mo Sider on power play 1 and you leave him there. What are you doing? But yeah, I love the player. Nobody plays harder minutes in the NHL as a defenseman than Mo Sider. This guy's up against the best guys every single night, all night, and he more than holds his own. I think he's a really, really top tier defenseman. And Detroit's really lucky to have him. I think, for him to pop off points wise, it's going to have to be on the power play. I don't think that he's really relied on in those situations at 5-on-5 to really generate offense. He's kind of just more of a, retrieve the puck, get the puck to the wingers, and just play well defensively. But this Detroit power play is really legit. I mean, this year they're down a little bit. I mean, I think they're 12th best in goals for per 60, but I think by the end of the year they'll probably be top 10. This is an excellent power play, and he's already got 18 points on the power play, so I think he has a really good shot at beating his power play points career high, which is 24. I think he'll probably do that this year. And so I think because of that, it's really going to hold up his fantasy floor. And obviously if you're in a peripheral league, this guy he's rocketing up your draft boards because of what he is able to bring to the table. So shout out to Mo Sider. We're going to the old mill. We're getting some cider. I got to talk about my boy, one of the most handsome men in the entire NHL, Tom Wilson. Damn it. What a jawline on this man. But, Wilson has been just an absolute unit. I love this player. It's a pretty easy one for me, honestly. This guy's taken the reins to me in Washington as one of their main offensive weapons, which feels really weird to say, right? I mean, Wilson is your offensive weapon, but he's been a force, right? Definitely physically. I think he's likely going to get 200 hits. His blocks are down a little bit this year, but I think he's been in a bigger offensive role this year. So I think, he's not really out there defending as much. Obviously, big penalty minutes as well. This guy's an ultimate dingus, right? He does that. But I think that Wilson has really benefited greatly from his line mate, Alexi Protas, which is a guy I'm really high on. Protas has been a wizard when it comes to zone entries, things like setting up plays in zone, elite puck battle and forechecking abilities. Tom Wilson's an amazing forechecker and puck battler as well. So I just think Wilson's been able to kind of focus on what he does best, which is banging and slanging, right? Get in position, deposit the puck into the net, right? I will say I think Wilson's been running hot, shooting 20%. That's, I think that's probably going to come down, but Washington has been excellent at 5-on-5 in terms of efficiency. Power play, not so good, right? So I could see Wilson's shooting percentage, maybe even strength dipping a bit and maybe, rising up a little bit on the power play. I think he has a little bit more juice there. Could be a wash, but either way, I think we're looking at a career high for Tommy Wilson, probably 70 to 80 points. I'd love to see that. One thing, I mean, I got Wilson in my Cats league for the last 3 years in a row. And it's
Wow.
so bizarre. Like, he finished in the top 20 in that format each year, but I always end up drafting him like ADP 60 and after. It's like the guys in this league, they aren't picking up how value translates in the format, right? Like, this is a guy that needs to be drafted much higher in certain formats. Like I said, he's been top 20 in that format, and I don't see that changing. This guy's an absolute unit. So shout out to Tommy Will. I don't know, you got this guy anywhere?
No, unfortunately, because I'll tell you what, I've never hated Tom Wilson more. Every like week that I played him, not only would he get crazy peripheral points, but he's getting power play points at the wazoo. I mean, 2 power play goals. I'm like over here clenching my fist, waiting for the hat trick to come. Like, it's crazy to me, like what
I
he's
know.
doing. And like you said, I think he just slips down the draft boards. Like, his ADP on Fantrax is 120. Even in points leagues, he's in the APL right now, he's a top 20 right winger. So like, yeah, it's just crazy. But kudos to him for maintaining that role and kind of doing it on Washington.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Get yourself some Tom Wilson and do it now. All right. Let's move over. Let's talk about the power play wizards. All right. These are the guys we're targeting in draft season. And yeah, we got a couple of beauties here. Talk to me about your boy here.
Yeah, everyone who's watched Trade Talks knows this is my boy. In fact, I got him in so many spots, and I was happy to do so. Wyatt Johnston, this guy is the engine of the Dallas Stars. He's unbelievable. Don't listen to Trade Talks, Ryan. He hated on the Dallas Stars forever. Look at what Wyatt Johnston has done to him. He's in shambles. Like, you look at his 57 games played, 29 goals, 30 assists, 59 points, 29 power play points. He is on pace for 42 goals, 85 points. He's on the up and up. He kind of has been the past few years. It's every year gets a little bit better. And he's maintained that role alongside Mikko Rantanen, top line, top power play. We all know the Dallas power play has been insanely good. He has the most power play goals in the league with 18. On the season, he's 6th in individual expected goals for per 60 and 3rd for expected goals for per 60. He's so good. He's good at puck retrievals. He's good at setting up the plays, and he's good at burying. Like, the way they run that power play, like, you would think like Rantanen or J-Rob are going to take all the shots, but they're making a point to focus on getting it to Wyatt Johnston because, everyone's so focused on those other shooters. They just work it into him. He gets a shot in close, and he's burying it like more often than not. So, yeah, I think Wyatt Johnston, like, yeah, his ADP was like crazy too. Like, ADP 73. Like, this guy is again gonna finish like as a top 20 fantasy forward, and next year I think people are gonna be looking at him in the second, like mid to late second, early third round easily. So yeah, really excited about Wyatt Johnston and his future with the Dallas Stars too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, 18 power play goals, that says it all, right? Like, truthfully, Wyatt Johnston is the correct answer here. Because, yeah, goals are at a premium. That's what you want. That is what's going to give you that's what's going to score, in your fantasy leagues, right? And Wyatt Johnston is the best at that in the league. He's unbelievable off the wall. Like, he just fits so well into what Dallas does, especially on the power play. And I'm really, really glad. Like, this is something I kind of banged the drum on a little bit in draft season, that Dallas power play was going to be a wagon this year, and it absolutely is. I didn't expect that it was going to be Heiskanen over Harley. I really thought that Harley was going to be the guy kind of running the show there, but who the hell cares? I mean, I just knew with Glenn Gulletson coming in there that I think we were going to see a more consistent and dangerous power play, even though he doesn't run the power play. But I mean, he's obviously got some say on what goes there. And yeah, Johnston's been unbelievable. So yeah, we'll see what happens next year. I think he could potentially be overdrafted. I don't know if Johnston is a guy that has like 90 to 95 point potential. I think he's kind of like a point per game type of guy, right? And that's absolutely valuable, especially because of the goal scoring. But I'm wondering, I want to see it a little bit more. He had a great year last year, 71 points, and he's going to smash that this year. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't take Wyatt Johnston in the second round next year. Third round, I'm starting to get excited about Wyatt Johnston. We'll see how he finishes the year, but his role on this power play and in this Dallas Stars offense is definitely good to go. So I'm a big fan of that player. My guy, I want to talk about Nick Suzuki. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's. It was funny. I was talking to Nate the other day. This is a guy that, like, just 3 years ago, we would talk Yang on, right? Because kind of in the process of where we were in our analysis, we're very much looking at individual chance and individual shot generation, right? And Nick Suzuki doesn't really do that, right? That's not really his game. If you look at what he's done here this season, so I'm just pulling this up. But Nick Suzuki on the year. Sorry, I'm just stalling. 242nd in shots to goal per 60, right? 211 in the league in individual scoring chances for per 60. That does not sound good, right? But what he does is not, encapsulated in those two metrics, right? This is a guy that is an unbelievable facilitator and on the power play. Like it's been amazing. Nick Suzuki on the year. He's pacing for 94 points, 18 goals, 47 assists, so 65 points in 57 games, but he's already got 31 points on the power play. What the hell? That's crazy. I mean, that's good for third in the league behind two guys named McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, right? Nick Suzuki is third in the league in power play points. So, I mean, he absolutely has, he should be here in this conversation in terms of power play wizard. But yeah, Montreal's power play been a huge part of their success so far this season. It's been interesting to me. They've been playing sort of fire wagon hockey, right? Like big time offense, really kind of shoddy on defense, but it doesn't matter when you're converting at the level that they are. And I think they're sixth best in the league, Montreal's power play. Really nice stuff. So just perfectly constructed power play with strength at every position. You got Cole Caulfield as a sniper there. You got Slav with the net front presence, right? He's having an amazing year. You got shifty facilitator Ivan Demidov out there. And then you got elite passing and vision from Lane Hudson there on the back end. And then you got Nick Suzuki, right? He's a jack of all trades. He can do it all. So I'm a big fan of the player. I think 94 points. I think he could hit 90 this year for sure. Montreal, I think, is in for a big sort of last little bit of the season here. They've been playing really well, and we'll see what they do at the trade deadline too. I think they're obviously buyers. They want to bolster the squad and kind of go into the playoffs like feeling pretty good and give themselves a chance to maybe win a round. So I don't know, where are you at with Nick Suzuki? You got this guy anywhere?
I don't have him anywhere this year. I made a trade for him last year. I traded Dylan Gunther like very early in the season when he had like his pop off, and I got Nick Suzuki, and I was not upset because he ended up finishing kind of as one of the better centers in the league. Almost won me a league. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's one of those things where, like you said, like individually his metrics don't jump off the page, but he kind of reminds me of like a Rob Thomas, but on a better team, right? Like he's got the facilitation, and then he gets a ton of assists, ton of power play points. And yeah, Montreal's just kind of doing it. I'll say one thing, like I will never start a goalie against Montreal again because they shoot like 15 shots on net and they score 4 goals. So like it's all efficiency. And for whatever reason, like last year was the same way, and it just hasn't fallen off. I mean, when you got Cole Caulfield sniping it there, and the guys like you said they do, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, big Nick Suzuki fan. Wasn't able to get him anywhere because I do think he was kind of overdrafted, I feel like, in a lot of spots, but you can't really deny what he's doing. So, and I just want to comment on something. Wyatt Johnston, you heard it here. Blake Creamer doesn't think you can get to 100 points, okay? I hope he listens to this podcast because I know he's the type of guy that's going to go out there and do it, Blake.
Oh hell yeah! Too many cooks in the kitchen, man. You got J Rob, you got Rantanen, and Johnston's gonna get it. I don't know, man. I think he's the second liner, one of probably the most elite second liner in the entire league, right? And an amazing power play performer. But we'll see. Let's see what happens at the end of the year.
Gotta get him fired up.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, he's a good friend of the show. So sorry, Wyatt. Yeah, we'll revisit this later. All right, let's move on. We got to talk about the consistency king. And yeah, a couple beauties here. Talk to me about your pick for most consistent player here this fantasy season.
Yeah, I think this one was probably one of the easiest awards for me. It's Sidney Crosby, Sid the Kid. I do wish him well as a Team USA fan. We need to see Crosby in that final because if they get there, it wouldn't be the same. I think it's going to be an asterisk if we beat Canada and there's no Crosby. They're going to be like, well, you did it, but we don't have our captain, our best player. So he's kind of doing what he always does. 56 games played, 27 goals, 32 assists, 20 power play points. He's on a 40 goal, 86 point pace. He's the 13th best center eligible player. I mean, his ADP was 30. So again, like I feel like every year he kind of falls down the draft board a little bit more, but you still get him at value because he still continues to produce the way that he does. And Pittsburgh's been a really good surprise this year, especially offensively. Like guys like Brian Rust, Raquel coming back from injury has been good. Even like that, the other lines like Mantha and Malkin have been cooking, and then Kindle is a young player. So yeah, I think that's helped like take a load off of what Crosby's had to do, but he's still getting to work, especially on the power play. So yeah, I mean, he's just every game, you're expecting a point or two from him. I don't think he's, going to blow up for, multiple hat tricks or 5-point games anymore, kind of like he did earlier in his career, but he's consistent. And that's what you want in fantasy hockey. And I hope, I haven't heard much on this injury yet. I think he did get imaging over in Milan, but John Cooper said that he can't rule him out, which of course he's going to say, I would think, just to keep the other teams guessing. But yeah, I kind of hope that one, the injury isn't too serious, and two, that he can continue to play in the Olympics.
Yeah, I saw some tweet by it's just a doctor that I follow who watches sports and sort of gives his take on what he's watching. And yeah, it was like a MCL sprain or an ACL sprain or something that the doctor thought potentially not season ending, but maybe he's back in March. This is kind of what that person thought. But yeah, again, the coach was like, yeah, we're not ruling him out, right? And so I saw another tweet there. So whatever, I don't know. To get this guy out there, he's give him a bionic leg, he'll do it. He's such a beauty. He's your favorite player's favorite player. So I love Sidney Crosby. Yeah, and the Penguins too. What a surprise this year. Like their special teams have been unreal. Their power play's 5th best. Their PK's 4th best. They're 3rd overall in expected goals for in the entire league. And Crosby is a massive, massive part of that. I got to shout out Gino Malkin too. This guy's had a really nice season. He was left for dead, and now he's like, yeah, I'm going to come back next year. So that's kind of neat, run it back. But yeah, shout out to the Penguins. Nice stuff there. My pick for this award is certainly, I would say Crosby consistently has been the best player for years and years and years. For me, this season, the most consistent player when he's out there has been Mark Stone. And I have to give this man his flowers. It's unbelievable. Like he's got 60 points in only 41 games. That's a 120-point pace. Dear God. I mean, that's not real, folks, but still, I mean, he's doing the thing. 41 games is a really good sample size. In terms of consistency, Mark Stone, there's only been 6 games the entire season where Mark Stone hasn't had a point. That's wild, right? Like that's consistency to me. Like, damn, and in a lot of the games he's getting multi-point games. So I just think that this is a guy that really drives the engine, certainly on the Vegas power play. Like his role there, absolutely essential. I think he might be one of the best facilitators down low with the man advantage in the league this season, right? His ability to connect plays, been a major factor for Vegas success there. Vegas power play, 3rd in the league in expected goals for per 60 and goals for per 60. So they're cooking exactly where they need to be. Stone has 22 power play points already, including 7 goals, career high for Mark Stone in just 41 games. So I don't know, playing with Jack Eichel helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is like I'm just thinking to myself, like, can I find a way to draft Mark Stone next year? But I don't think it's going to happen because people are going to look at this and say, like, I feel like he's going to go too high for where I want to draft him. But like, I mean, am I crazy to think like drafting Mark Stone in like the 4th round? Like, I mean, the problem is just you're so concerned about health, but like when he's healthy, he's doing this. So like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a legit concern that and my thoughts on injury narratives, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Mark Stone is one of those guys where I'm like, I'm staying away, right? Unless I get extreme value. But I've drafted him the last 2 years because he's been available at extreme value, like ADP 140 or later, right? And I mean, a season like this, like if he's able to sort of finish strong here, I think would really go a long way and probably bumping him up the board a little bit. But I still think we're going to get good value on Mark Stone just because of that narrative that's out there. And I think that narrative is real, right? We've even this year, he's only played 41 games, right? So just get Mark Stone after pick 120. I bet he'll probably be available there again. So one thing that's funny, I was looking to make this presentation here on YouTube. Mark Stone does not take a good picture. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, he's not an unattractive man when I'm looking at him, in the game, but yeah, damn, the pictures, man, it looks like he's ripping ass. Like just, just taking a picture during mid fart, like every picture of Mark Stone. So I don't know. Check that out, folks. Hit us up in the comments if you agree with me. That's high quality fantasy hockey content right there. Evan, am I right?
Better with his helmet on for sure. I'll say
Yeah, yeah. He
that.
needs a full goalie mask on. I think that's probably best. All right, let's move on. We got to talk about the most underrated player this season. Oh yeah, and I'm interested to hear your take on your guy here because I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a lot of guys for this award, but I went with Tim Stützle. He 57 games played. He has 28 goals, 33 assists, 61 points, 19 on the power play, 145 shots. This is a guy that's now on a 40 goal, 88 point pace. This is the Tim Stützle that I thought we were going to get, several years ago. Back in 2022-23, that's kind of when he was at the 90 point pace. And that's what people were expecting from Tim Stützle. And I actually really think that individually, I think he is that good. My personal belief on this is that Ottawa has had a lack of kind of supportive scoring for him. You can say Brady Tkachuk is there and everything, but I really think if you got a little bit more, of a scorer with him, instead of just kind of like a bang in front of the net guy like Brady Tkachuk, like Drake Batherson's had a really good year and he's played with Tim Stützle a lot. So I think that's kind of helped. But his metrics don't jump off the page at you, but when you watch the games, he's like an eye test guy. Like when I'm watching the games, he is the guy that's driving play, zone entries, puck possession, everything. And he plays very heavy minutes, the highest on their team. Good two-way now. He's developing his two-way game, but I think he's a guy that, ADP this year was at 47. I think some people drafted him, and when I was watching people draft him, I'm like, oh, that might be a little high, but he's lived up to it. I think, again, he's going to kind of continue to be that player moving forward for them.
Yep, for sure. I think this is a player that under any other coach besides Travis Green, I think would probably be succeeding even more, right? This is very much kind of like a Kevin Fiala type of player, or like one of these offensive guys. He's better than Kevin Fiala, I will say, because he just brings more to the table. But what I mean is he just has so much to give offensively, right? And Travis Green has really kind of dumbed down this Ottawa offense. It's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that Ottawa system there. It's a lot of kind of dump the puck in, try and get the puck and crash the net. Whereas a guy like Tim Stützle, like you said, he's a zone entry guy. He's a puck possession guy. He plays with speed. He plays with pace. So this is a guy I think has 90 points in the bag. We've seen it before in the 2022-23 season. I do like what he's been able to do here. I think he's kind of turned it on the last little bit. 88 point pace, like you said. I think he's going to have a big year. And yeah, underrated. This is a guy, even when I talk to Nate about Timmy Stutz, he can never say a nice word about Timmy Stutz. And I'm like, God, this, he does so much for fantasy and just for offensive generation that we want to see. And I really think one of these seasons, maybe it could be this one that's sort of a building block for him to sort of stay consistently in that, 85 to 95 point range. I think that's kind of where Timmy Stutz should live. But yeah, we need some, like you said, maybe a little bit of different line construction, some system changes to help Timmy Stutz. Also, they need some goaltending over there. My God, it's been unbelievable. I dig in on Ottawa a little bit. They're actually number one in the entire league in expected goals against at 5-on-5, but they're 22nd in the league in actual goals against. That's insane.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, they've been getting some really poor goaltending. I think that's going to change. I think Linus Ullmark's going to have a really nice end of the year here. They're in and around the playoffs. They're going to be pushing hard to try and get in there. I think Ullmark's going to be a nice piece as well. Shout out to him. But I got to talk about the Rat, Brad Marchand. I'm sorry, folks. I have to do this, but he has been a really, really fun fantasy piece this year. I think, he's got 25 goals, 25 assists in 46 games. That's pretty damn nice. 18 points on the power play, decent per riffs. And again, his ADP was something silly, right? I think you got it here as 145. That makes some sense if you got Brad Marchand as kind of that third line grinder that we saw in the playoffs last year. But with Barkov and Matt Tkachuk out this year, Marchie's been the guy. It's him and the Sex Panther, Sammy Reinhart. So I think Marchand has quietly had his best season in ages, right? Production has been really great, but the underlyings are even more promising to me, specifically his microstat profile. It's been going off, right? Digging in there, Marchand leads the Panthers in shot contributions and scoring chance contributions per 60. So that's, for example, shot contributions is shots per 60 and shot assists per 60. So, and then they call that shot contributions per 60. And same with scoring chances, like the actual scoring chances and scoring chance assists. So he's leading the Panthers by a huge margin in those two metrics. But not only that, he's actually near the top of the league in both of those metrics, comparable to guys like Kucherov, McKinnon, Celebrini, and Marchand. Right, he's there. He's right there in those two metrics in terms of shot and scoring chance generation. So that's crazy stuff. Like that's not exactly his MO. So I think that he's stepped up big time in the absence of players like Barkov, Kachuk. I think that Marchand has also been one of the best players in the league this year in generating chances and shots off the rush, right? Which tend to be the most dangerous type of shots, right? So just lots to like about Marchand. I don't think that people are truly aware of how well this guy's played this season. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what his role is when the team does get fully healthy, including Marchand, right? Because he's been battling an injury. So could he could just as easily go back to that third line role with Lundell and Lewis Starnen, right? And that worked really well for the Panthers. Or they could, continue to give him some run. Like the Panthers are on the outside of the playoffs trying to get in there, right? So it'll be neat to see what happens with Marchand, but I did want to shout him out. Massively underrated season. You got him at extreme value this year. It's been a nice renaissance. What do you think about the Rat this year?
I can't believe you're giving the Rat an award here.
Sorry, buddy.
You give him an inch, he'll take a mile. I mean, this guy, no, I mean, it's been incredible. I didn't really have that on my bingo card of like, oh, Barkov's going to be out and Kachuk's going to be out, until February, that Marchand was going to step up and do this really. So yeah, it's been really impressive to watch. Every time I watch a Florida game, he's the one doing everything and on the score sheet. I really do think they should keep him on the top power play. It's been bad for Verhaeghe, but minus that kind of one little stretch he had. But yeah, Brad Marchand's been a revelation this season. I'm curious to see, he's obviously getting older and he battled those injuries and had surgeries in the offseason and stuff. So, kind of what he does and where he's drafted next year too, when everyone's healthy.
Absolutely, buddy. Go get yourself some Brad Marchand. He's still doing the thing, folks. Oh my God. All right. We got to talk about a really fun one. Biggest draft steal. There's been a bunch of them this year. I'm excited to get into both of these. Let's start with yours here.
Well, you had yours in on the sheet first because obviously this would have been mine. It's been well documented how I feel about your selection, but I will get into mine. Mine is Cutter Gauthier, and we're kind of hard on for the Ducks here, but rightfully so. I feel like we got to shout them out, and they're players we're going to look at next year too. In 55 games, he's got 25 goals, 24 assists, 49 points, 12 on the power play. I kind of think that would be more, but like you said, he's been on the second power play a lot of times. 208 shots on goal through 55 games. Dang. That's amazing. ADP 202. Can you imagine getting Cutter Gauthier at the 202? I mean, I felt like a good comparison was like Dylan Guenther from last year, and he's even doing even better than Dylan Guenther did. But he's kind of that profile of player where he's shooting a lot, he's scoring, he's being relied on for that. He's on a 37 goal, 73 point pace. I really do think he'll get to 40. He's second in the league in shots on goal per 60 on the entire season. First in individual Corsi 4 per 60. I mean, every time he's getting the puck, he's just rifling it at the net, and it's accurate. So why wouldn't you? He's scoring these goals. I can remember a lot of my friends, Blake, when I get on this podcast and they watch it, I said, and I was quoted for saying Cutter Gauthier is going to score 40 goals this year. And everyone laughed at me. But now this is the part of the show where you got to kind of take your victory lap and say, I'll take a look, but I'm really excited about Cutter. I think he's a great individual player. I think he has more to give. I'm excited to see what he does in kind of the last half of the season here. And I'm excited to scoop him up in drafts next year. I'll say that.
Yeah, where he goes in drafts next year is going to be really interesting, right? Because, I mean, maybe if he gets power play one consistently here towards the end of the year and has a big back half of the year, yeah, I could see him really deserving to be kind of in that, third, fourth, fifth round area where you can get Cutter. But if, Coach Q starts tooting around and keeping him on power play too, I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think I'm glad to hear that you were in on this guy. I liked him. Nate was really big on him as well. So, shout out to him as well. It was funny. Sometimes I go into the Yahoo comments on a player. Remember when Cutter was having that massive start to the year and legitimately people were in the Yahoo comments being like, I'm here because of Nate, thanks Nate. Appreciate that. That's just funny to me because Nate really banged the drum with this guy, and it couldn't have worked out better. I feel like he has had a fall off. I thought we were going to get like just a nuclear season here from Cutter Gauthier with how he was scoring there. But yeah, he kind of came back down to earth. And then I think there's some coaching and roster construction that sort of affected that. But this guy's an absolute beauty. I'm really excited about the player. And he has the guys to play with him, like guys like Mason McTavish, guys like Mikhail Granlund, guys like Leo Carlson. Those are elite facilitators, guys that are really showing out in things like scoring chance assists, shot assists. They're putting Cutter in good positions. So it makes a lot of sense that he's getting a bunch of goals because he's not just rifling it almost from anywhere, which he does, but he's also rifling it from high danger spots, right? And then there's a good chance those are going to go in. So shout out to Cutter Gauthier. I'm glad that, I'll talk about mine here. I'm glad you're big on this player. Morgan Geekie, the Geekster, nerd alert. Yeah. I love Morgan Geekie. He's obviously had a great year. 32 goals, 22 assists in 56 games, 20 points on the power play. Love to see it. 89 hits. What? That's pretty nice too. I mean, this guy's bringing a lot to the table. So I'm a big fan of Morgan Geekie, but I talked about him 2 years ago. I do this thing in draft season called Players of Interest, and Morgan Geekie was one of the players I had for Boston like 2 seasons ago because he was getting a look at the end of the year on the power play. They were giving Morgan Geekie some run, and I liked what I saw there. And it's been, I didn't expect this, right? Like I didn't expect him to do what he's doing here, but it to me, this is a direct result of playing with David Pastrnak, right? Like obviously Morgan Geekie is a great shooter, right? But to me, Nate and I have talked a lot about this year, David Pastrnak and his ability to facilitate, right? It's an underrated part of his game, and he's really, really good at that, right? So yeah, I mean, Morgan Geekie, I didn't get him anywhere, unfortunately, this year. That stinks, but I think a lot has been made too about his high shooting percentage, right? He's shooting 25%. And how that will possibly regress, I'm not sure. Maybe it will, but we've seen players in his position, right, able to maintain that type of efficiency over a season, right? Guys like Big Cozy, right? Guys like Sam Reinhart, right? You can have a season like this, and I think Morgan Geekie is showing that. Like the last game I watched with him, Boston against the Canucks, like this guy, like you understand why his shooting percentage is so high. Like he's got just an absolute cannon, right? And it's so accurate. So I think that Morgan Geekie could do it, right? One of the things with him too, he's really cooking on the power play. Tied for 5th in the league with 10 power play goals, which is really nice. Boston power play has been an absolute wagon as well this year. They're 4th best in the league in goals for per 60, 6th best in expected goals for per 60. So generating a ton of chances, finishing at the level they should. Geekie's pacing for 47 goals. Does he get there, Evan? I don't know.
I have to say yes. I have so many bets on Morgan Geekie for over 50 goals, so I have to. And to be honest, everyone's going to hate it, but I could listen to you talk about Morgan Geekie all day. This is a guy that I specifically didn't bang the drum on, Blake, because selfishly, I wanted him in every single spot. I drafted Morgan Geekie in every single fantasy league I had this year. So
I love that.
This was my guy. And so I will never not stop praising Morgan Geekie. It is like crazy that he's 27 and he all of a sudden now has like a 25% shooting percentage over the past 2 seasons. It's not like it's just been like, oh, it's 20, 30 games. It's been 2 full seasons almost. So like, I know he has a really good shot. He's done this a little bit away from Pasta too, but yeah, I think that he's a guy that can capitalize on opportunity like he's done. And as long as he's in that role of like a top power play and kind of relied on as a shooter, I think he's going to keep doing it weirdly. And it's funny because like when I watch the Bruins, like half the time I feel like it's his positioning too. Like he just kind of like knows where to find a little bit of space. And when he gets that space and can get his shot off, it's lights up for the goal. So yeah, I love Morgan Geekie.
Absolutely, big dog. Shout out to the Geekster. Big time draft day steal. Holy man. I mean, what was his ADP? My God.
Oh man.
Like
so
201. Holy
201. Man, I think I overdrafted him because I was getting him like probably like the 160s, 170s, and I'm like praying no one touches him. Like, yeah, that would have been awful if he'd had a horrible season, though. Then I'd have him in 4 different leagues and I wouldn't be able to say anything about him.
You would have been like me with Josh Norris. Yeah, I picked him up at crazy. Like I overdrafted him from his ADP. I have him in like 6 spots. But the points per game look pretty good for Josh Norris. So shout out to me. All right, let's move on. That's about that.
I had Josh Norris in a few spots. You weren't wrong there. There were other believers.
Okay, I got some bits and pieces. All right. Next award we want to talk about: best waiver wire player of the year, best waiver ad. I think this is pretty cut and dry. I like yours the best. I threw in my own, but talk to me about your pick here.
Yeah, I think for me it was very easy. Darren Radish. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done in Victor Hedman's absence, and even since returning now. In 49 games played, he's got 17 goals, 35 assists, 20 power play points, 129 shots on goal. Periff's okay, 50 hits, 49 blocks, ADP 287. I feel like he went undrafted in most spots. He's currently the seventh best D man. We saw for Team Sweden that when they played US that Victor Hedman was injured again in warmups and didn't play. I think this time was a lower body injury. But for Darren Radish, he's fifth on the season in shots, 4 per 60, Corsi 4 per 60, and expected goals 4 per 60 as defenseman. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you watch him play because you're like, how can this man do that? To your point of like Mark Stone not looking good, like, have you seen this guy's picture, man? Like, I look at him and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
how is this guy the seventh best defenseman? How is he able to just step in to Victor Hedman's role and be better, like as a right-handed shot on that power play? Like he's got a bomb, dude. They were showing like all these clips of like his 90+ mile an hour shots, and so yeah, I think he's going to keep doing it the rest of the season. Really, the question for me is, does Tampa sign him, or does he sign a big contract somewhere else now? And like, where does he go next season? I feel like I'm not going to touch Darren Radish next season anywhere because it's going to be such insane like draft like capital.
Yeah.
But man, this year off the waiver wire, if you got Darren Radish, you are just laughing.
Did you get him?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got him in one spot. One spot I got him, but
Yeah.
this is a league. It was a 10-man league, and I already had a loaded defense. I had like Bouchard, Darlene, Quinn Hughes, but I added Darren Radish to that, so I was pretty happy. But one
Hell yeah.
spot I got him. One spot.
Yeah, man. I got him in one spot as well, and happy to have it. Although that's a league I'm not doing very well in, so I can't like enjoy, the fruits of Darren Radish's labor. But yeah, this guy's been unbelievable. I think the big surprise to me there is how they've sort of changed that power play to feature Radish as opposed to like I'm just looking at Braden Point right now, and I know he's been injured for a lot of the year, but his power play numbers way down, even for the amount of time that he's played. And he plays that bumper spot, whereas Tampa used to kind of do that triangle down low. Right now they're going low high a lot, right? Kucherov is finding Radish for the bomb, right? And he's really doing something with it. So yeah, you're right though too. I think I don't know what this is going to equal next year because you still have Hedman there, right? You have an injured Hedman here this year. You got a healthy Hedman. Are you still putting Radish out over Hedman? Maybe. I mean, we'll see what they do with that contract. That's going to probably tell us a lot, right? But yeah, because Hedman has other abilities as well, like as an actual defenseman. But I love Darren Radish. Hopefully, you're able to pick him up. My guy here, I just wanted to shout out Ryan O'Reilly. Again, a guy I just picked up off of waivers like a month ago too. He's still out there. He might still be on waivers out there, folks. This is a guy like there's a narrative about Ryan O'Reilly. Obviously, like it's not sexy. Okay. I mean, but this guy deserves his flowers. He's got 20 goals, 36 assists in 57 games. That's what? Like that's wild stuff right there. 15 power play points, 44 blocks. He's an underrated source of blocks on the season as well. Like I just think that the Predators players, again, left for dead in fantasy just a few short months ago. But this guy's on an 81-point pace. That's crazy. So definite resurgence here for Ryan O'Reilly. He's getting big time minutes, like average time on ice, 20 minutes and 10 seconds, 15 power play points. Like I said, the blocks are really nice. But as far as a waiver pick, like I picked this guy up in 3 spots and I just couldn't let go because he just kept producing, right? But based on the narrative around him and the Predators, like I said, he could still be out there on your waivers. Like in a 10-teamer, you could go get Ryan O'Reilly. Like he's probably out there. If he's out there in a 12-team, we're like, what are you doing? You got to get, unfortunately, you have to go get this lumbering dude out there. I remember watching him play with Toronto. Like he skates like Frankenstein. Like it's just so weird. He's out there like, doesn't bend his knees. He's just straight up, all boxy. But yeah, whatever. But I think, yeah, with the Predators, Stamkos obviously starting to put the biscuit in the basket. That's helped. You got Luke Evangelista breaking out, joining Ryan O'Reilly there on the top line. I think that's made a huge difference as well. Nate and I talked about that. We prognosticated it, Evan.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
great stuff. I mean,
yeah,
Ryan O'Reilly's a sore subject for me because I dropped him in the APL very early on, Blake. I drafted him late, and he at the start of the season he wasn't really doing the thing, and
no.
I had him and Kopitar, and LA had like a better schedule for the next few weeks, so I just held on to Kopitar, who had then dropped as well. But yeah, dropping O'Reilly now doesn't look so good. Plus, imagine if he gets traded to Minnesota.
Yeah, although I think if Ryan O'Reilly gets traded, value goes down, right? To
Potentially, that's
me,
top power.
like I don't think he's not going to get the minutes, right? And I think this guy is a hot commodity, right? Like teams are looking for centers. This guy's got a really nice cap hit, like it's low risk. I just think he'll probably lose some value. Although, yeah, you go to Minnesota, like the even strength environment, that's a nice place to be, right? Maybe he gets to play with like Cap. Oh, damn, that would be unbelievable. But yeah, just want to shout the man out. I think that yeah, he's still got some gas left in the tank, and he's been a great waiver wire add for me personally. Let's move on. We're going to talk about the Jack Hughes Award, actually the Injury Award. Yeah, it's. I mean, what can we say, right? This will be an interesting conversation. Like again, I've got into it with so many people about Jack Hughes and the injury narrative. I hate it. I'm not a big fan of it. But I mean, if we're looking at one season here, this guy's tooted right in our face with in the most ridiculous way, right? Like, damn. I don't know. Let me gather my thoughts. Talk to me about Jack Hughes and sort of what your thoughts are on him this season and just this injury narrative in general.
Yeah, I'm glad that we could agree on this one and just make it the Jack Hughes Award because he really is like a phenomenal player, and we've even seen it in the Olympics here. Like he's done quite well. I don't know if it's something with Sheldon Keefe for the Devils or like I don't know what it is in terms of his play because ever since he's been on the Olympic team, he's been doing great. Boost with playing with his brother. Maybe he's upset that Quinn didn't get to the Devils this year, but yeah, I mean. This is a guy that was drafted very high, like ADP 14. In 36 games, he got 12 goals and 24 assists, so he's on a point per game pace. But it's just disappointing based on the injuries. Like he had like the freak hand injury, and then he had a freak injury, and so it's one of those things where like you look at the injury narrative, and he's only played a full season once, and that was the 2021 season, which was only 56 games. He's missed 20 games in 3 consecutive seasons. So the injury narrative is certainly there. I think it's one of those things that, you take into consideration. But for me, I think we kind of talked about it. Like you're going to get him at value next year. There's no way he doesn't fall in drafts because of the
Yep.
season he's had, because of the injury. I see you out there like a warrior in Discord trying to, educate the people about this. But the reason I'm not like hitting the replies and backing you up is because that just means more Jack Hughes for me, Blake.
I like you, buddy. I mean, I'm gonna be promoting this man next year, right? It's obviously we need to see what his ADP is. I picked him up in one spot this year. I drafted him at 10th overall. So yeah, and in that league, I'm first overall. So it hasn't hurt me a lot. But I also got J Rob and I got Tage like the 3rd and 4th round. Like it was crazy, right? So some good stuff there, but it's just this guy's ability to generate shots and chances is elite. His rush play is elite. Unfortunately, like I do think we have to look at the New Jersey Devils and the narrative that they're this offensive wagon and scrap that. They're not anymore, and they haven't been for 2 seasons, right? This is a team that really struggles to score goals. I mean, yeah, like I was digging in on some of their numbers here. Like their offensive generation, they're 32nd in the entire league in goals scored per 60 at 5-on-5. The Devils. The Devils. Oh, God, it's freaking terrible. And so the finishing has been really awful. Defensive environment's been terrible. And their power play, which usually should bolster kind of some of those numbers, it's been mid, right? They're 15th best on the power play. So obviously Jack Hughes being injured for a lot of that affects that. But, we've got some other players too, like Jesper Bratt, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Very disappointing. And I'm not sure that changes. So I'm going to need to see some really good value with Jack Hughes next year, especially if Sheldon Keefe is still the coach here, especially if they don't shore up that top 6 and get Jack Hughes someone to play with who isn't Andre Palat, you know what I mean? Or like Stefan Nason or, or put Gritziuk up there with Jack Hughes. Give me someone who can kind of match the speed and skill of a Jack Hughes. So we'll see what happens. I'm not concerned about the injury narrative. I'm just not. But because these injuries are so different, the hand thing, I mean, not predictable, right? You can't predict it. You can't just go in and be like, a player missed 20 games per year for the past 4 years. So times that times 4, then divide by, then now he will miss X amount of games. It doesn't work that way, folks. I'm sorry to say. Yes, you're all valid in your thoughts that Jack Hughes is an injury risk because he's proven that so far. But to try and predict that, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to bank on the talent, trust the talent of the player. And this is a very talented player. But, I will concede I'm going to need to see some big time value on Jack Hughes next year. And I think we're going to get it.
Well, look at like these other injury prone guys, right? Like look at Malkin, Steven Stamkos, 5 years ago when they were all injured and then had career years where they stayed healthy. I look at a guy like last year, I took Shea Theodore and Zach Werenski at value. I took Werenski in the 5th round, Shea Theodore in the 7th round last year. And I was laughing because people are like, they're going to get injured. They're not going to play a full 82 and they're not going to do anything. And then again, you're getting value on these injury prone quote unquote players. So yeah, I follow that completely.
Yeah. When you play fantasy hockey at a high level, you need every edge, right? You really do, because ultimately it comes down to luck, right? And you don't have to look any further than in the APL, right? And I don't want to blow this man up, but Nate, who is one of the best fantasy players I've ever seen, he's not having the greatest year in the APL. And it's not because of his process. It's because of luck. Right. It's because just little things don't go your way and they stack up. And, I've had kind of a bad run in that league as well in some of my higher level leagues. So you need every edge that you can possibly get. And you can't leave a guy like Jack Hughes on the board when he's apparently healthy and ready to go. This is a guy that has 100-point potential and he will reach 100 points in his career. Book it. All right. And you want to be in on that. I think he's going to be the guy to own one of these years, and it could be as soon as next year. So shout out to Jack Hughes, tooting in our faces. What are you doing? All right. And let's get to this. This is going to be an interesting one, and then we'll get into kind of our top players at each position and our MVP, and we'll get you folks out of here. But we got to talk. Do you like talking about big busts, Evan?
Of course. All the time.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, buddy. I love it. Shout out to big busts. We got a couple of big ones right here. Why don't you talk to me about your biggest disappointment so far this fantasy?
I was going to say, I love how you changed it from disappointment to bust just so you could say that. Shout out to you for that.
What are you talking
about? I will go with my biggest bust, and that is Jesper Bratt. We kind of already highlighted the Devils in terms of how bad they've been as a team. Jesper Bratt's been bitten by that as well. This is a guy through 57 games. He has 13 goals, 28 points, or 28 assists, 41 points. He is on I believe it was a 19-goal, 59-point pace. That is putrid. Putrid for a guy whose ADP was 38. He skyrocketed up the draft boards after last year. And so it's crazy to see that this is kind of what's been going on. And he did stuff without Jack Hughes last year too. So it's everyone's well, Jack Hughes isn't there. He did it without Jack Hughes last year. He had 88 points last year and he had good hits. He had 96 hits, good shot totals. I just think there's something going on with the Devils. I do believe in kind of team narratives throughout the year. If players lose their confidence in the team, there's a bad vibe in the locker room, kind of like the Rangers too. I do think that sucks down some players, and Jesper Bratt's kind of been affected by that. I mean, it's crazy what they did to him on Team Sweden too. He plays 4 to 6 minutes or something in the game.
Made no sense.
He's a really good player, and I don't believe that, him and the Devils, they're having a bad year, and that's kind of what I look at it as. Again, I think he's somebody that I could value in drafts next year, but yeah, it's been a very disappointing season for managers who drafted him.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, the Devils in general, it's just been gross, like you said. The good news is Jesper Bratt under the hood, especially his microstat profile, he's still doing all the things that he normally does that we want to see, right? Zone entries that lead to scoring chances per 60. He's off the chain, right? He's doing that. He's doing his very best out there. I don't think he has the talent to play with here. And like you said, I think the vibes are just bad in New Jersey. I think Sheldon Keefe has to wear some of that. I think Tom Fitzgerald has to wear some of that, not putting a team out there that, can match or facilitate some of the skills that their top players have, guys like Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes. When you got two players that rush the puck as well as those two players do, you might need to kind of tailor the offense to that. It's like Sheldon Keefe goes there. He's we're going to show you the right way to play on the defensive side of the puck. It's yeah, that works for some players, right? But Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes, let them fly, let them get out there, let the leash out and let them do what they do. And you take the good with the bad, right? And you figure it out on the back end, how you're going to shore up the defense. But yeah, it's been really rough stuff for Jesper Bratt. So I think, yeah, he's not going to hold value at all, I don't think, this year, especially with the Olympic thing that happened there. I think we'll be able to get him at a very decent value. And we're still looking at a point per game player, right? This should be a 70 to 80 point player year to year. Obviously, we got to see what happens there with the Devils, but shout out to him. My pick here was Big Poppy, Austin Matthews. Yeah. And I mean, there's not too much to say. I don't want to, drag Leafs fans here. This has been pretty rough stuff, but I mean, 51 games this year, 26 goals, 22 assists. That's a 77 point pace for Big Poppy, Austin Matthews. And this is a guy that should be in the 90s to 100, right? He should be scoring 50 goals a year. It's not happening, right? And it's been really rough to see. I think, yeah, like he's been okay this year as a fantasy asset. Like he's not killing you, but it's where he was drafted. That's really the disappointment, right? Like this is a guy that was, you maybe picked up in the top 5, certainly in the top 10, Austin Matthews. Like if you got him at like 9 or 8 or 10, you're like, wow, I'm going to win my league. This is unbelievable, right? Like I saw him drop a little bit, but he's nowhere close to that in terms of return on investment. So I just didn't think that Toronto was going to fall off the map in terms of their power play as much as they did. And yeah, you look at Mitch Marner, like he wasn't the biggest connector there. Like I don't think it shouldn't have been this drastic. That drop on the power play, but Craig Berube, he still hasn't figured out what they're doing on the point there. You got Morgan Riley out here, you got Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They can't figure it out. They're doing a 5 forward set sometimes. That's a problem, right? Especially when you've got a level of shooter like Austin Matthews, who should really be getting 20 power play goals a year, right? They're not. This is another situation. Like it's got to be tailored to Austin Matthews. Like you got to find a way to have him at the end of passes, put the biscuit in the basket. And we don't even know like what type of injuries again Matthews has been dealing with this year, and he might be one of these guys that's just always kind of like he's like different than Jack Hughes in the way that I think Austin Matthews plays through injury. Mm-hmm. Right. Whereas maybe Jack Hughes doesn't, right? Austin Matthews will just play. He'll just get out there and do what he does. Right. And it's his fantasy production is really suffering. So, Toronto power play 10th worst in the league in goals for per 60, not expected. Right. And Austin Matthews has 4 power play goals on the year. 4.
That's crazy.
I mean, that tells you all you need to know right there. Right. So, the good thing is underlyings are fine in terms of shot and chance generation, but he can't do it alone. I think Craig Berube has really dumbed this offense down. Defense has been porous at best. I mean, they're dead last in the league in goals against per 60 at 5-on-5. So it's been rough stuff for Toronto. I mean, Nate and I had a really good projection for Matthews. I think he's going to be better rest of season here, but I mean, with the Leafs on the outside of the playoffs, I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's a shutdown risk with Austin Matthews?
I don't know about that. It's possible, I think, but I don't think it's probable. It's weird. Yeah. I feel like, again, with my buddies and talking before the season, like I was kind of on the side of you guys. Like I didn't think Mitch Marner leaving was going to negatively affect his production this much. I don't necessarily think it's completely tied to that. I will say it was pointed out to me that over 50% of Matthews' goals were assisted by Mitch Marner prior to this year. So, definitely the power play has suffered because of Mitch Marner's absence. I wouldn't say the same necessarily even strength, but yeah, it's just Austin Matthews is one of those guys, I think, moving forward. Like, I think I am going to slightly like alter my expectation in terms of like that 60 goal, 100+ point player, just because one, like, again, I don't buy the injury narrative, but he's had stuff that just lingers. And like you said, he plays through it and everything. And then again, say what you will. I am about like team environment and vibes. And again, like Toronto's one of those spots where it's like Craig Berube is that highly defensive environment, playoff style hockey. But the Leafs were so good offensively. Like let Willie Stiles and Austin Matthews like score goals and get rush play. Like it's just not like really happening. So, but yeah, I it's weird with Matthews, man. I don't know where to place him next year in drafts, honestly.
Yeah, just another guy we're going to get at massive value because, I mean, he still has a ton of value, but as a 60 goal scorer, 90 to 100 point getter, maybe not. I don't know. We might have to manage expectations there. All right, buddy. Let's get to the meat of the episode, the prestigious awards here. They're all being sent by mail to these players here. And let's start with the best left winger. You and I agreed on this one. Jason Robertson. Oh yeah, buddy. Yeah, he's had an amazing year. I mean, this is again a guy I was targeting for sure because I think there was a narrative last year that he wasn't the player we thought he was, right? 80 points in 82 games last year. Yeah, kind of like, dinking around on the power play, only had 19 power play goals. We talked about that Dallas power play that was inconsistent last year. Well, yeah, they popped the hell off this year. That power play is going nuclear. 27 points on the power play. He's got 66 points in 57 games. That's a 95-point pace. He's been excellent, right? And I don't see anything really that's unsustainable for what Jason Robertson is doing here. I think he's an easy best left winger. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, easily. First in the league in individual expected goals for per 60 on the season. All of his shot numbers are crazy. Like he's a beast. Like there's no other way about it. And I was very upset when he was left off Team USA because he is a fan favorite of mine as well. Absolute animal, both on and off the power play, scoring goals, getting good assists. Yeah, I got to give you guys credit. Like you definitely nailed this preseason, like with J-Rob. I remember you guys saying like, get J-Rob at value. He's going to either be at or maybe even better than Mikko Rantanen. And you're going to save like 2 rounds of draft capital, like getting him there. So yeah, I love Jason Robertson.
He's had a great year. He's going to finish strong. Fingers crossed. All right, let's talk about the best right winger. I think this is pretty standard from year to year. It's going to be Nikita Kucherov, that legendary all-star. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about this guy? He's the engine of that offense there in Tampa Bay. And he can just do it all, right? The way he facilitates passes, the way he enters the zone, like with deception, he's able to kind of take it on his own. He's got a great shot, or he makes these deceptive passes, and he's just the prime example of a player that makes his teammates better. So I don't know. What do you got to say about Cooch?
Nothing. I mean, he's just the best. I think, like, again, some people may have gotten him at slate value. Like, there's an argument, like, well, would you take him versus Makar at 3? Like, some people even got him at 5 or later this year. Like, I think people are thinking, well, again, same thing. He's starting to get a little bit older. Tampa as a team's kind of aging out. Like, is he going to keep up this, like, 146-point pace? And guess what? He's doing it again, especially in the last, like, 20, 30 games. It's been insane. Like, he's really competing for that Art Ross again. So, yeah, nothing really to say other than he's the best right winger, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he led the league in points by the end of the year. No. Like he just does that, and he does it quietly too, right? And I think maybe he doesn't get his flowers quite as much as like a top player because he doesn't score as much, but he can, right? This is a guy he got 44 goals just 3 years ago. Like, he's not going to get the 50 goals or the 60 goals potentially, but I mean, he does so much out there, and he's probably, I mean, not this year in particular, but I think he's one of, if not the best power play performers out there in the game, just in terms of kind of turning the tide with the man advantage. So shout out to Cooch. Let's move on. We got to talk about the best center. We got a couple here. I chose Mac. You chose McDavid. I mean, give me your take. Give me your argument for why McDavid has been better than McKinnon here this season.
So if you just go look at, like APL set, like McKinnon is outperforming McDavid, and I understand that in terms of he gets more shots and everything. It's Nate Dogg. And preseason, I was 100% drafting Nathan McKinnon number 1 over McDavid if I had the opportunity, which unfortunately I didn't. But I think McDavid this year, the reason I chose him as best center is because he really kind of like shut up my argument against him, which was, I think he's only like, 100 to 120 point player who's all assists, no goals. Like he's got multiple hat tricks this year. He's doing it all. And like I kind of doubted him. People like I was like, he's had one season where he was really that like kind of like Gretzky level dominant, where he like blew the entire league away, him and Draisaitl and the rest of the Oilers. But he's proven he can do that like again and still. And so like I kind of was a doubter for McDavid being like, especially like a goal scorer too. But his shot totals are up this year. His goals are up again. So he's kind of doing it. I think you could, again, they're both like right up there, number 1, number 2. You can argue it all day, but I just think I chose McDavid because he kind of shut me up this year. So I got to give him his flowers.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, in terms of actual best player, I'm taking McDavid 100 times out of 100. I think he's the best player in the world. There's no question there to me. The reason I'm taking Mac here as a number 1 center in fantasy is really the goal production. That's really king. That's what I want to see when I'm drafting a player. And McKinnon is leading the league in goals. He's been unbelievable, and he's done that with Colorado's power play being piss poor. They're dead last in the league in goals scored per 60. That's shocking, right? Like imagine what McKinnon would be doing. He's on a 139 point pace right now. Imagine what he'd be doing if that power play was even mid, right? Like it's crazy to me. Whereas McKinnon has 22 power play points to this point of the season. McDavid has 39.
That's great.
Okay, like I mean, McKinnon should be in the 30s at the very least. So the fact that he's been able to do that without any kind of real power play production, I think just is another kudos to McKinnon. Like playing at 5-on-5, that's much more difficult. It's much more difficult to get production there, and McKinnon is really showing out. So yeah, I think it's 1A, 1B. Honestly, I had this is a weird year. I had first overall pick in like 4 spots.
Ooh.
Right. So I chose McDavid once and I chose McKinnon 3 times. Because I needed to have a little bit of McDavid, but yeah, it's an amazing way to start your fantasy team, that's for sure. And yeah, McDavid has not disappointed. Colorado's an absolute wagon. I hope the Oilers kind of figure things out defensively. Like I want to see them there. I want to see those two teams play each other. That's truly best on best to me in the NHL in terms of offense. So yeah, shout out to Max, shout out to McDavid. Let's talk about the best defenseman. We got a couple here as well. I chose Werenski. You chose Quinn Hughes. And I love it. I think, again, this is 1A, 1B to me. It's a very similar argument. Like, talk to me about Quinn Hughes and why you like him as your best defenseman in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, look no further than that USA goal. It's I think really to me, I never really doubted Quinn Hughes as an individual player at defense. Like it was more the team situation. I'm sorry, Blake. You just cover your ears for this. Yeah, in Vancouver, like he was obviously like the whole team pretty much. Like it's been disappointing for Pettersson and kind of the rest of the group, Brock Besser, after what they'd done previously. But like ever since he's been to Minnesota, like he's getting multi-point games every single night, like, and he's very clearly driving the offense. I think Brock Faber is pretty underrated as a defensive defenseman pairing with him too. And that's really helped him just unleash his offensive game. But I think he has something like 32 points in 22 games so far with Minnesota. Like what's to say that's not going to continue? So I think that hot take you'll see rested, like by the end of the season, I think Quinn Hughes will be the number 1 defenseman for total fantasy points, power play points, kind of racking them all up. Makar can get going and everything because he's kind of been slouching recently. But yeah, I don't hate your pick with Werenski. I think he is individually doing the most for his team on Columbus. And I love that pick too.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. I mean, I love Quinn Hughes. I've watched the guy for years. Like he tilts the ice out there, and he did it with a poor team in Vancouver, and now he's tilting the ice with a good team in Minnesota. Like, and I love that he just goes to Minnesota and he's like, yeah, this is my team. Like, yeah, he's waving people off. Like, no, I'm staying on. Right? Like, this guy's got aura out the wazoo, man, and he's really having a great year. That said, for fantasy, I think Werenski he's smashing Hughes right now. Like Hughes has 5 goals on the year. Werenski has 20.
Yeah.
Like
that's
massive.
Shots, yeah.
Oh yeah. The shots for Werenski. So in Cats leagues, Werenski's also smashing there. Power play, like that's where Quinn Hughes is beating Werenski pretty handily. Hughes has 25 power play points. Werenski has 15, right? And I don't see Werenski really popping off on the power play. He doesn't do that. Whereas Quinn Hughes could get up to 40, right? He like if that power play gets going, he could really go nuclear there. But I'm taking Werenski just for the goals, pure and simple. Like both these players, they're number 1 and 2 in average ice time on the year. Quinn Hughes playing more than any other person in the league, and Werenski's right behind him. So just 2 absolute studs on the back end that change the fortune for their teams. But to me, for fantasy, like I'm going to take the guy that's bringing more to the table. Like in Werenski, even the hits and blocks, like Werenski does that not crazy well, right? Like Quinn Hughes has 5 hits in 52 games. What are you doing, you dancing boy? Oh my God, he's twirly wooing around there. Well, Werenski has 21 in 52, and Werenski has 65 blocks. Hughes has 59, so little edge there. But obviously, like Hughes has reached another level in terms of actual play on the ice. I think Quinn Hughes has been the best defenseman this year. Maybe like Werenski and Makar again. Like they're interchangeable, but I think I would give it to Hughes in terms of actual play. But for fantasy, I'm going ZW.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. And let's just note, Blake, both of these guys, Team USA. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
I know it's rough, and you got Connor Hellebuck out there. Gee, I mean, this team's a wagon, all right, but you have to have freaking Sloth from Goonies out there, and Matt Tkachuk, the ultimate dingus. God, I don't like these guys. I like them for hockey because it's just better when they're out there competing. Like these guys are fun to watch, but What a couple of pricks. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. All right, there are no Crosbys. All right. Let's talk about the best goalie. Again, we got two different options here. I really like the pick that you brought here. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I went with a zero G option. Went with Karel Vejmelka. I got him in one of my spots. 27 wins. He's tied with your pick, Vazzy, for the most in the league. He leads the league in saves with 1,020. I have on my notes here volume, volume, volume. I mean, I think he has had more volume than Vazzy. I know Vazzy had the injury and everything, but I mean, they're just throwing Vejmelka out every single game, and it's working for them. He's done quite
Yeah.
well, especially like in the past like month and a half. 2.58 goals against, 903 save percentage. Not the greatest, but he's currently the third ranked goalie. And I just think based on the value, really, like he was like getting like 10th, 12th round selection, and he's just done really good for Utah and probably going to get him into the playoffs.
I love it. I love the pick. I mean, in terms of value, there's no question Vejmelka is easily the best value goalie of the season. I mean, 44 games started. That's amazing, right? He's playing a ton. So, but I love vegetable lasagna as much as the next man. Okay. But I do think Vasi is the best goalie option here this year. I don't have him anywhere. I never will, unfortunately, right? Because he's just going much too high for me to sort of bank on the value there. But he's to me, he's been the best. Both of these goalies, like you said, tied for first in the league with 27 wins, but Vasi did it in 7 fewer games, right? So that's one of the things. Like, I think Vasilevsky's hurting you a lot less in formats where you get negative points for losses, negative points for goals, right? Vasi is going to give you more of those rate stats, right? And he's getting the wins as well. But like you said, Vejmelka is the volume king. There's no question there. I do want to shout out both these goalies. Just Vasilevsky, goals saved above expected. He's second in the league. Ilya Sorokin is number 1. So, shout out to him as well. But I think Vasi's, been a bit more integral to, his team's success here. And then Karel Vejmelka's he's fifth. He's fifth in that same metric. So really nice stuff. You got Sorokin number 1, Vasilevsky number 2, Logan Thompson number 3, John Gibson number 4, and then Vejmelka at number 5 in terms of goals saved above expected. So drastically outplaying their environment. These guys are both studs. And to your point, like, you got Vejmelka at crazy value this year, and you probably held him all year. So I think, if we're looking at fantasy, maybe the best fantasy goalie, Vejmelka might have the edge there.
Yeah. No, unfortunately I ended up trading him away, Blake, in a package for Lane Hudson. So I'm not upset about it, but it did pain me to see him go. I tried to your point, you want to see the Oilers get better defensively. So do I, because I have Tristan Jarry as my number 1 goalie in that league. So that's a tough look, but I'll take it there. And I will say, you might call it treasonous, but I took Vazzy in the APL. I believe it was either the 5th or the 6th round, just because I didn't like the value anywhere else. But I'll take it.
No, that's where those are the type of leagues where you're getting like a guy like Vasi in the 6th round is value to me. That's absolute value because of what he's shown historically. And I don't hate that at all. I'm not doing it, but someone has to, right? And you're loving that this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't tell Nate.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Nate. Yeah, we'll edit that part out. All right. Let's talk about what the hell? Oh, I erased them up. If you're looking at the stupid
Nice
thing here, I
mountains.
erased the. Yeah, it's an avalanche. All right, and Nathan McKinnon's supposed to be on there, but I erased them. Anyways, my MVP for the season, Big Mac. All right, Nathan McKinnon. I'm taking him. I think he's again, but I have him in 3 spots, and it's just been when I'm down and out in my matchup, and I know I have some McKinnon games coming up in the back half. I'm like, I'll be fine. Right. And it absolutely has been. In the APL, I've got McKinnon and Natchez. Wow. So I know, like, it's been great. Obviously, the Avs, been a little bit cold as of late. So I'm hoping they sort of get back to their scoring ways. But it's just been such a delight to have this guy on my team. You did not take Nathan McKinnon. You took someone else. Who did you pick here?
Yeah, this is kind of, again, off the wall, but if you listen to Trade Talks, you know how much I love this guy. It's Macklin Celebrini, King Canada right now, Blake. I mean, this kid's, what he's doing at his age is unprecedented, unbelievable. Yeah. Like, every time I watch a Sharks game, like, he is just driving and tilting the ice so far the other way, generating chances for both himself and his teammates. I mean, he's a generational talent. Like, he is that guy. People laugh, but I said I would take him, like, really high next year, like as high as like 6th, like 5th, 6th. Like, I don't think anyone's really, like, he's on a 120 point pace. So, if he kind of gets that 100 point plus pace, yeah, I mean, he's just that guy. That's all I can say. He's the MVP for me.
Yeah, you were on this guy this year too. You got him at some good value in some spots. So nice work there. I'm with you. I'm excited about this player. I think, yeah, we'll see. He has to be a first rounder next year. I don't see how he isn't, right? But yeah, time will tell. He's still a young player. Like, we could see a slump there at some point. Obviously, the team surrounding him in San Jose, there's some question marks there. Really good young talent, but they need some NHL talent defensemen. They need to shore up some spots there as well. Like they're playing Alexander Wenberg for like 22 minutes a night out there, which actually has been pretty
great
good.
Stream.
Yeah, I have him on 2 teams. I haven't been able to let go because he's getting power play and so whatever. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of Macklin Celebrini and the Sharks in general. So I think it's a great pick. But that's it, buddy. We did it. We kept it under 90 minutes. That's something. All right, we feel good about that. If you made it this far, definitely check out the Apples and Ginos Patreon. Link is in the description. We got different level tiers there. You can get access to our patron only Discord channels, patron only live shows, show notes, weekly show notes, and you can get the Apples and Ginos player evaluation tool. It's a invaluable tool. I use it every day. All right. I look at it in the bathroom. All right. When I'm sitting on the pot. I'm sorry. I didn't need to go there, but that's fine. Also, join the Apples and Ginos Discord community. Link is in the description as well. Like, rate, review, subscribe. That would really be good. And definitely comment on this show here. We would love your takes on all of our awards. What did you think we got it right? Did you think I got it right? Do you think Evan got it right? Let's hear it in the comments. All right. And let's just smoke Evan. All right. We want to do that right now. All right. Take this man down. But that's it, folks. Really appreciate it. That's all we got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard came from Natural Stat Trick and 18 Skaters. Many thanks to Matt Creamer, my brother, for supplying the music for the podcast. And that's it, folks. Celebrate your day. Bye for now.